started a business? Get Margaret Stolfax. This woman, she explains everything. Everything you ever want to know.
Hello, welcome to Market Stall Facts. So we've been doing markets for the last 15 years. We've been doing farmers markets, general markets, retail markets, charter markets, country shows, food festivals. So budding entrepreneurs ask us the whole time, what is the best business to run at a market stall? So today we're going to go through a whole list of possible ideas for you guys, the budding entrepreneurs. Our main area of expertise is in the food area, where we've been making fudge for the last 15 years. But we've also done cakes, salads, we've done Indian clothing, Indian interiors, rugs from Peru. We've done everything that we think, oh, there's a gap in the market there, and we think, we'll do that. But for the sake of today, we'll just go through some regular ideas that work really well on the market. So we'll start with the food area, which is what we know best. Cakes and pastries, for example. With cakes, they don't cost very much to make. You have to be pretty good at it. If you're not good at it to start with, worry not, because practice makes perfect. So keep trying. Your cakes will rise and you will make gorgeous cakes if you're determined enough to do so. It's not rocket science. So think about, if you're going to do cakes, whether you're going to do individual ones or if you're going to do a large one and then cut it up and sell by the slice. We've done both. Both work extremely well. Or you can sell the cake as a whole. You can do these on special order, for example. So imagine you're making say a 9-inch cake. Let's say it's a fairly thick sponge. Obviously, now hang on, wait, go back a bit. Maybe you're a good cake seller. Maybe you think you're a good cake maker. But unless your cakes look fantastic, then people won't buy them, really. A friend of ours did this. Under my insistence, yes, that's how you'll make some extra money, do it. And she didn't sell anything at all, because her cakes looked awful, frankly. I can't say that. Anyway, cut that out. But your cakes really need to look the business, and then you'll sell a lot of them. But if they look average, then there's less chance of that. So, take a 9-inch cake. You might sell that for £30–40. But so that's quite a big expense for someone who doesn't know what your cakes are like, or they may have a birthday that day that they suddenly forgot they had to buy a cake for. In which case, but that's a very few amount of people who are going to buy a whole cake just like that without knowing you. So what you could do is sell it by the slice. So let's say a 9-inch cake, you can get 12 slices out of 12 decent slices out of that. Each slice sell for £2.50, £3, whatever. So if it's £2.50, that's £30 a cake. Perfect. And you'd rather sell half the cake, getting you £15, rather than no cake if you're trying to sell the whole thing. And the good thing about cakes is you can freeze them. Obviously, if they've got icing or they're elaborate, then less likely. But yeah, cakes, good profit. But pastries, now, very popular, but you can't freeze pastry. And unless you make your pastry yourself, they're likely to be very average. Just bear that in mind. Jams and preserves, the next one. If you can buy your fruit and produce in season and then sell it out of season, absolutely perfect. The only downside to this is that, if you're selling that amount, the jar will cost about 50p, jar and lid. So there is a bit of an expense to that. Obviously buy in bulk and you'll get it cheaper, but yeah, popular. And pickles. Nobody in England, in UK, as far as I know, are doing pickles. And I mean the sort of American type of pickles, cucumber sort of idea. Another idea to try fudge, sweets, marshmallows, anything sweet. People love to be treated, you know. Oh, I've done really well this week, I'm going to have a bar of fudge, or, you know. People like to treat themselves to something really special. And the more, I mean, I know people are sort of going off the whole idea of sugar, but if you make something really worthwhile and breaking their diet for, then it's not so bad. I mean, licorice is another really good thing to do, especially if you can make it. You've got olives. Olives is fantastic. You buy the olives in, and then you dress them, you put your herbs and spices on according to the flavours that you choose. Always a really popular stall at a market, particularly if the olives are very fresh. Now another business venture that I've done is salads. Absolutely brilliant for the customers. Who sells fresh salads these days? Absolutely brilliant. Only thing is, they only last a day, really. And so if you imagine, your main markets would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you do your Friday market, you're up at the crack of dawn sort of doing all the last minute stuff. So once you've sold out of all your salads, then what happens for the Saturday? It's unlikely you're going to have, you know, you'll have made enough for 2 days, or maybe you have, but it's a huge amount of work. So unless there are two of you, one who stays back and cooks and the other one sells, then it's sort of more doable. But if you're a one-man band, it's probably too much work for one person, but that's not for me to say. But a lovely thing to sell. Sausage rolls, pies, quiches, absolutely fantastic, and the cornerstone of any food market. Everybody loves a sausage roll, a pie, a Scotch egg, but it is an awful lot of work and masses of last-minute cooking. But if you can make a good one, people will, you know, beat down doors to get to you. We know of one particular sausage roll and pie seller who is superb, and we always compare anything we've bought anywhere else, or is it as good as Nigel's? And you know, so it's good to have. If you're well known in your area for being perfect, then you'll have a good business. Then you've got vegetarian, vegan foods. I say really popular, but I think that's probably because I'm vegan and it's something that I would love to see. Or charcuterie, pâté, hams, cured meats. A lot of legislation down to this, because if you're preserving meat, so of course there will be. Then you have prepared foods. So if you sort of make a number of chilies or lasagna or shepherd's pies and get them all ready, you know, those foil boxes with the cardboard lids. Really popular, especially if you can make phenomenal food. I mean, how many times at a market have we been, when say we do a Friday market, we're exhausted, we've been up at the crack of dawn, all the stallholders want to take something home for supper. None of the markets that I've ever been on sold anything like that. I would have loved it. Would have bought the lot all the time. Purely just the stallholders, because it's a ready meal. And I've also known some people having businesses like these to sell a whole week's worth all in one go. You know, regular customers. Imagine single people on their own who don't cook. A whole week's worth in one go at every time, because you can freeze them, of course. Absolutely brilliant business. I'd do that again. Or yes, I think I would. Yes. Yeah, very good. Especially if you build your own reputation for having superb food. What are we on next? So, bread. Bread in every market needs to have a bread seller. And good bread is really popular. Your average bread is also you know, it depends on your audience, depends which town you're in, what kind of bread. If you want to go for the more artisan sourdough sort of idea, which is a huge amount of work. But yes, bread is always a goer. You'll always sell your bread. And even if you don't, it's not you're not losing that much money. So dairy, cheese, yogurts, milk, creams. Usually people who do dairy actually produce their own milk, whether it's sheep, goat, cow, and artisan cheese sellers are really popular. Everything's really popular in my world, I know that, but yes. Another thing that you find at markets: meat, fish, game. Obviously, if you're selling meat, you're more likely to have reared your own meat yourself. We had a friend who actually used to sell 4 lambs every market, and then it dwindled so much over time that she ended up only selling half a lamb at every market, and then it just got to the point where that wasn't even worthwhile. So she ends up now selling it wholesale. So it's really tough if you're a farmer, you know, rearing your own stock. If you're a huntsman and you're dealing game, perfect thing to sell. And fish sellers, really popular. And obviously that's bought in wholesale. So wines, beers, spirits, ciders, anything alcoholic. Wines and ciders, the sellers of those items seem to have a bit of a following, a bit of a cult following. And you tend to see their customers congregating by the stall, you know, trying the samples. Oh, this one's nice, and you know, talking about beer. Similarly with spirits, it's as if they build maybe because a lot of the sellers of these items are quite young, so they're really good with social media, and they're building their own brand as they go along. So you know, good areas to go in. What traditional English wines are popular enough, particularly if it's a nice sunny day, but probably not something to be standing at a market all day long. And then you've got your fruit wines as well, of course. So now probably the most popular stall in the whole market is the coffee stall, the proper artisan coffee stall. The only thing with coffee stalls is they take so long to make 1 cup. I'm not sure it's a business. I can't see that as a going concern to make a significant amount of money. Of course they'll be busy all day, but if you're going to spend, you know, people are going to spend what they spend on 1 cup of coffee, you know, and it takes them that long to make. I don't know. I can see other businesses doing better, to be honest. But also, you can do a stall with beans. You know, you're selling the actual beans in bags and grinding it for them. That's a good business, and it smells fantastic when you're trading next to them. And then you've got your fruit and veg men. Sorry, that was very sexist. Fruit and veg sellers. Now, to be able to get a pitch selling fruit and veg at a market, usually there's only one on a general market, it's very difficult because, first of all, these people work really hard. They're up at, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning, going to buy their produce from whatever port, and then coming back. Absolutely really, really hard work. But they earn significant amounts of money, and that's why you'll never probably be able to get a pitch on a selling fruit and veg at a market, unless you're a farmer's market. You're selling a small amount on a farmer's market, well, they'll have more allowances, more people. Pet food is something that is creeping onto farmers' markets a lot more, but actually, you know, pet food is a real on-trend thing at the moment, really popular. Even as much as bird food, that's a traditional general market fodder, but it works. But of course you've got real niche foods. We've seen crisps, someone selling crisps at market. They grew their own potatoes, made their own crisps. We've seen someone selling British English walnuts. We only saw them once because, you know, there's not enough demand, and they were expensive by comparison to where they could get elsewhere. But they were interesting. But also you've got your paleo and your keto Very niche, but they can be popular depending on your audience, really, and if they do their marketing adequately. But then you've got hot food. Hot food, really popular at the right venue. In America, it's more your tacos and sausages, I think. But here, it's more burgers or lots of different cultures. So Indian, Chinese, Japanese. Hot food's a bit of a thing at the moment, particularly with the young. But we'll do another video about that at another time. So that's pretty much the food looked at. But other ideas for markets, clothing and shoes. The downside with both of those is that you tend to need to stock a lot of sizes. So you need a lot of a big area when you're back, wherever you come from home, to stock your stuff or leave it in the van, I don't know. But so what you do find on a market is, say if someone's selling dresses, they'll stock small, medium, large, extra large, extra, extra large. So that'll be about 5 different sizes that they'd sell. Or the people who sell shoes would tend to be more shoes that are slippers, more, perhaps two sizes worth of size within each shoe. Because it's a lot of, you need to stock a lot of sizes. One stall that I really like the idea of is a stationery stall. Perfect if you have an indoor market pitch, because everybody loves buying stationery, don't they? Or is that just me? Then of course you've got sort of general bric-a-brac. And the interesting thing is, the sort of stuff that you might buy at, I don't know, a car boot sale, where you'd pay pennies for, put it on a market stall, or select the best items for a market stall, lay out in an appropriate way, and you can charge 20 times more, because it's a perception. Even though market stalls are perceived to be cheaper, thoughts. Anyway, so that is us. That's that. Thumb up if you enjoyed today or if it gave you inspiration, and we'll see you on our next one. Thank you.